Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 2.40. Now, in this particular Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is explaining to us the impact of practicing Shaucha, which is the first niyama, and what happens to a Yoga Sadhak when he or she perfects this practice of Shaucha. So let's get into the Sutra, start breaking it up word by word, and understand it a little bit better. So the sutra itself goes, Shauchat svanga jugupsa paraira sansargaha. Alright, so this is the sutra itself. Now let's look at each of the words and start breaking it up further. So the first word that we have here, of course, is Shaucha itself, which is the first niyama, and we studied it in a previous sutra where we discussed what is the exact meaning of cleanliness at a physical as well as mental level. The next word here is Svanga, and this is a compound word consisting of Sva plus Anga. So Sva means the self or one's own, and Anga means body. It's the same Anga that we use in Ashtanga, which also depicts the body part or the Anga. So Svanga refers to one's own body or one's own body parts. And then we come to the next word, which is Jugupsa. Now this is quite a unique word, it doesn't appear very often, but Jugupsa refers to a certain sense of the word they've used here is disgust or abhorrence, but a better word would just say a little bit of a disinclination or a certain repulsiveness. And that is what Jugupsa means. Then we come to the next word, which is Para. And here it's given as Paraira Sansargaha because it's coming as a compound word in the sutra, but the word para itself refers to something that is paraya or that is not yours. It's something else, it doesn't belong to you. There's a sense of foreignness with that object. So that is para, or paraira in this case. And then finally the last word here is asansargaha. Now this is a very unique word once again because it refers to non-contact or no contact. Now this is with reference to, of course, the different body parts, and we're going to come to it in the explanation, but this is what the word itself means, which is non-contact or not coming in contact with. Now let's look at what exactly this whole sutra means. So it's saying that when you observe niyama to a very large extent, the niyama of Shaucha, what begins to happen is there starts to be a little bit of a repulsiveness or a certain sense of abhorrence towards one's own body. And because of that, we also limit the contact with other bodies and we're a little bit more careful with it. And at the same time, we treat our own bodies with a little bit of detachment. So that is what this sutra is all about. And now we're going to understand it in even more detail. All right. So this sutra is quite an interesting one. It's telling us that when we practice cleanliness on a physical level, what is going to start happening is we will deeply understand how the body functions. And through Prakriti, because Prakriti is all about nature, everything, all the organs, all the organisms have waste matter. They have products that are not the most appeasing or appealing. And once we become more aware of that, we start to get a little bit detached from the body. Because otherwise, we're a little bit overwhelmed by the amount that our body can do, how attractive it is, and we get so enmeshed with what the body is capable of that we forget to think about the fact that we're not really the body, right? Because the body is going to decay, is going to be left behind when, death approaches us. So it's a really, really important question here of Shaucha and how cleanliness helps us to understand that there needs to be a little bit of a detachment from the body. Now, in this particular case, Jugupsa has been used, which is an interesting choice of a word because it indicates a certain sense of almost disgust or repulsiveness. Now, here, this is a little bit of a controversial subject as well because many people look at it differently. I'll tell you what the book says and then I'll tell you my personal opinion as well because this is a sutra that I personally am not 100% in agreement with, but nevertheless, let's look at what the sutra is saying. It's saying that we need to develop a certain sense of disgust or abhorrence towards the body so that we can actually understand that the body produces waste. There's no need to get so enamored by it and so caught up in it because it has waste matter, waste products. There's a lot that goes on within the body that is not as attractive as we think it is. And so this sutra is saying that a certain amount of repulsiveness or jugupsa needs to develop, using which we can then move beyond the body and so on and so forth. And also one more very important point, which the second half of the sutra talks about, is that we also are not inclined to touched by other people. So here as well, if you're practicing yoga and you're a yog sadhak or a meditator, what tends to happen over time is we become very receptive to the energies of other people. And through that receptivity, we might pick up on things that we may not want, right? Because if people in and around you have certain negative energies and you're a really receptive person or you're meditating a lot, you're going to start picking that up. So what this sutra is suggesting is that once you practice shaucha or cleanliness, you start realizing that there's no need to be in physical contact with every single person. And then you also realize that physical contact is really special. So you try to maintain physical contact with only certain people whom you trust, whom you think it's safe to be physically in contact with. And I think some of the Indian greetings even today kind of represent that mindset. The way we have namaste and sort of just touching of the feet, very minimal physical contact within the Indian culture. In some cases, in some spiritual disciplines, kind of indicates that there was this understanding that if you are too close to a person physically, you start to take on their characteristics, you start to take on their energy systems. And so it's better to be careful and to make a conscious choice of whom you're coming in contact with than to freely kind of just, be in physical contact with a lot of people. So that is what this sutra is trying to say, that through our regular physical cleanliness practices, this realization dawns on us, and then we're a bit more careful, a bit more conscious about whom we choose to build physical contacts with. And this could be in a relationship, this could be even just generally with friends and people you tend to meet. So it's something that becomes more of a conscious decision. At the same time, I will say that in today's digital world, sometimes we don't even need to be in physical contact with someone. We can actually feel the presence of their energies and who they are just through video and through video call. And I think that's why, again, it's really important to safeguard ourselves a little bit and just be mindful of whom we choose to interact with in our daily lives. Now, this is what the sutra says, and this is what, the sutra translates into. But I have to say on a personal level that, I used to agree with a lot of what the sutra is saying, but over time I changed my opinion a little bit because I realized that the body is wonderful. It's capable of so many beautiful things, and I feel that instead of developing a sense of disgust, I would rather just appreciate the body while understanding its temporary nature and continue to move forward. And I think especially as women who represent Prakriti and who represent the power of the feminine, we see the way the body changes, the way the body adapts, especially during childbirth. And I think that's a really beautiful process. So if we look at everything with a sense of repulsiveness, we might miss out on those really beautiful moments that Prakriti can actually offer us. And so personally, I have changed my opinion a little bit on a few of these sutras, but I think that's just my opinion. In any case, the sutra still says jugupsa and uses the word disgust or abhorrence. So you're free to decide how you would like to look at the sutra and what it means to you, but these are some of the opinions and some of the viewpoints. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you. You've been able to understand Yoga Sutra 2.40. If so, please don't forget to leave your views in the comment section below. Do give this video a big thumbs up and also do subscribe to our channel because we're releasing new videos every single week. We look forward to seeing you in the next video or in our next class or workshop. The link is in the description, and we're going to see you very soon. Namaste.